understand. Please, please, 44% of people, please look at me in the fucking eyes and tell me, what do you mean you can write a letter you don't understand? Okay, there's the stinger. Let me actually start it. Okay. There's been this demon in my head of this New York Times article. It's about AI writing and stuff. And I don't care about the writing itself because I don't respect the New York Times or AI writers. Who cares? But it's basically taking a bunch of passages, I guess spoiling it. I don't really care to do it live. Um, Compared to like how an AI wrote it versus how a human wrote it. And I like these. It's my little secret guilty pleasure. I don't know why I like them. There's just I don't know. I feel like sometimes they're maybe a bit tougher. This one felt really obviously easy in a way. And I don't want to say like it's correct or wrong or whatever, but like maybe more accurately, like the AI writing sucks. Like is really bad. I don't know. Because sometimes it's comparing like bad writing versus AI writing. And those are hard to tell apart. But like when it feels like it's good writing versus AI writing, I don't know. That one feels a lot easier. Anyway, so I was just gonna go through these different passages. There's like again 5 different categories and all that stuff, but yeah, literary fiction. I'm just gonna go through the AI first. Again, yeah. The boy asked his grandfather why the old church had no roof. The old man said weather and time and indifference. The boy asked if someone could fix it. The grandfather said yes, but no one would. Things were built and things fell down, and mostly people just stepped over the rubble on the way to somewhere else. Okay, so it's important to like kind of like I feel like it feels like for people again a lot of this is me trying to rationalize how 50% of people thought this like read well, you know what I mean? And I know for a lot of people it's just like you kind of your eyes breeze by it, you're clicking along, whatever. But like, okay, why does the church have no roof? The old man said weather and time and indifference. The boy asked if someone could fix it. The grandfather said yes, but no one would. Why? Like what like seriously, why would no one fix it? Like what's the meaning behind this? Like it's like whoa, no one will fix it. But why would no one fix it? I don't understand. Like all the time people fix things that are worn down. This kind of implies that there's maybe a thing to get at, but uh, it certainly doesn't say it here. Things were built and things fell down, and mostly people just stepped over the rubble on their way to somewhere else. But why? Why did people walk over the rubble? First of all, like it feels weird because like it has no roof, and now apparently the rubble's just there. Like, is the roof just like so the roof caved in, and now it's inside the church, and no one fixed it, and then no one's clearing out the rubble either? Where are they going? Why aren't they like it doesn't like I feel like this is an important thing where it's like I feel like you want to like with writing you have some theme and you're working on that theme, and this is like oh the church had no roof because no one wants to fix it for some reason, and people are just like walking over the rubble so they can what it doesn't make sense. Anyway, passage 2. It makes no sense what men think of war, said the judge. War endures. As well ask men what they think of stone. War was always here. Before man was, war waited for him. The ultimate trade awaiting its ultimate practitioner. That is the way it was and will ever be, and will be, sorry. Oh my god. It just in comparison, you actually have like war endures, as well as ask men what they think of stone, because stone endures. War was always here, that's about how war endures. Before man was, war waited for him, again, about the endurance of war. The ultimate trade awaiting its ultimate practitioner. That's just kind of a pretty way to say it, but again, waiting, like it's waiting, that is the way it was and will be. The whole point of this is like, war kind of like supersedes people, right? Like it doesn't matter what men think of war is like above people. War has been here before them, and again I can also say war will be there after them. Waiting its ultimate practitioner. All this I don't know, it's like it feels like oh it's so clear what the thing is here, and then you look at it this and it's like what is the point? This is such an obvious point. Okay, fantasy 2, yay. Again, doing this one. The healers teach that every remedy extracts its cost. A fever brought down will rise against the. Oh man, I can already feel my blood boiling. Oh. A wound closed by magic leaves its scar in the world, invisible but present. This is why the wise hesitate, not from cruelty, but from understanding that interference ripples outwards in ways we cannot trace. To cure a blight may curse a harvest 3 valleys over. Power is not a difficult thing, restraint is a difficult thing. Okay, again, there's some level of profundity to this. What is it? right? Don't read the last two sentences and pretend like that's the profound thing. Every remedy extracts its cost. Why? You, like, why though? Okay, okay. Like you're killing like I don't know the virus or the sickness, but okay, maybe okay. A fever brought down will rise again somewhere. What? What does that fucking mean? You bring down a fever and somewhere else a fever will rise? Why? And again, you can be like, no, it's a metaphor. For what? Like, that's certainly not implied by this. It's just kind of abstract and vague. A wound closed by magic leaves its scar in the world. Why? Like, invisible but present. But like, why though? How? That doesn't make sense. I understand. Like, a wound can scar over. Yes, that I understand. But yeah, this is why the wise hesitate. Oh man, what a deep point. What a really profound point. Not from cruelty, but from understanding that interference ripples outwards in ways we cannot trace. Ripples? Like there's a lot of like metaphors you can use for time. You know, you can talk about it like echoing throughout history, use like a sound to it. You can talk about like throwing a stone into a pond and then, you know, it ripples outwards and that's kind of being how time is. You can talk about time as like a, you know, like a Shakespearean, like we're all merely characters. I don't know, fucking whatever, you know? Um, but again, they're just kind of introducing this concept of ripples. It doesn't really, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a minor thing. I just feel like it's kind of the point. To cure a blight, may curse of harvest three valleys over. Why? Like, what, what do you mean? Power is not a difficult thing. Restraint is the difficult thing. This is a very common sentiment. Like this, I don't like these two sentences are like, yeah, that seems like a great thesis statement to try and justify. It's also something very internalized in our culture already. Like it's not. This isn't a new sentiment, and this just feels like completely irrelevant to it. And I will say, I mean, maybe a little to the point, but like isn't it weird that this is an AI generated thing talking about like the importance of like not doing stuff? I don't know. There's something about like the moral behind this is kind of fucking dog shit. And it's also made by AI. And I feel like that's a little bit of the danger where it's like, why? To some extent, if a human writes something, it is indicative of something almost by definition. No, by definition, AI doesn't have any like theory of the world or state of the world or anything that it can reference to. It doesn't have personal experiences it can call on. So, you know, can you imagine someone having an experience where they were like, man, I wish they like hesitated? Sure. But like, remember. Okay. Other side now. Oh, and then the other thing is how distant it is, which will be relevant here. The healers teach that every remedy extracts its cost. This is why the wise hesitates. And then let's go to the other passage. You must not change one thing, one pebble, one grain of sand until you know what good and evil will follow on the act. The world is in balance, in equilibrium. A wizard's power of changing and of summoning can shake the balance of the world. It is dangerous, that power. It must follow knowledge and serve need. To light a candle is to cast a shadow. So again, just this is something I noticed a little later on as well. Only afterwards. This isn't like while I was reading it. I just, like I said, this has been living in my head for a few days. It's fucking, yeah. Um, Starts off, you must not change one thing, one pebble, one grain of sand. What a fucking powerful statement to start off with. Again, agree or disagree. They're not saying, some people can say that you would need to think about what you do before. No, no, no. Until you know what good and evil will follow in the act. The world is in balance and equilibrium. A wizard's power of changing and summoning. Now, obviously, like capital E, capital C, capital S. Don't know the context behind this. Can shake the balance of the world. It is dangerous, that power. It must follow knowledge and serve need to light. I'm just reading it again. But like, there's a really strong statement here, right? You cannot do literally anything until you know what good and evil will follow from the act, right? And this is clearly in the context of some kind of magic, right? And that is a lot of power. And so this is like, again, I take some mentor or something really trying to emphasize the importance of like because I'm giving you this power or because I'm teaching or anything, it doesn't really matter, that you have to be extremely careful with it, you know. And the fact that the world is in a very careful equilibrium, which again, like this, I don't know exactly what this means, but you know, and that's part of the reason, like I said, we don't have context behind this, but yeah, it must follow knowledge and serve need and so on. Like again, very strong. To light a candle is to cast a shadow. Pretty metaphor, you know. But yeah, I don't know. And again, it's like This one just feels like very strong or whatever, and this one just is completely nonsense. There's some nonsense here in the sense that like I clearly don't know what equilibrium changing and summoning are, but you get it. Next one. Again, science writing. There is something astonishing in the fact, of course, super abstract, super distant from it, that we are made of matter forged in dying stars, that the calcium in our bones was created in stellar furnaces billions of years before Earth existed. The universe is not indifferent to us. We are made of it, continuous with it. To understand this is not to feel small, it is to feel implicated in something vast. Okay, we are made of matter forged in dying stars. Not not a new sentiment. Obviously, some level of profundity there. Whatever. It's somewhat profound, but obviously not an interesting statement. That the calcium in our bones. Why calcium in our bones? Why calcium? I don't know. I feel like there's something about like because you have forged and furnaces. Maybe you could choose something that's not bones. It just kind of seems like random. Was created again, being nitpicky. Was created in stellar furnaces billions of years before Earth existed. The universe is not indifferent to us. We are made of it, continuous with it. This is what's upsetting. The universe, sorry to burst this bubble. The universe isn't different to us. That's kind of I don't know, like post space race people are more engaging with like our role in the cosmos. People are more directly interfacing with like the size of the galaxy and seeing these pictures and things. And I don't know, and people are feeling this existential horror, um, which makes sense. But the answer to that is not the universe is not indifferent to us. It is indifferent to us. Like we are made of it, continuous with it. It is. Like I feel like it's really important that people understand that like it's the solution to that ennui is not actually the universe really cares about us. It doesn't. To understand this is not to feel small. It doesn't make you feel small though. This would make you feel bigger than you should. It is to feel implicated in something vast. Implicated? What do you mean? Doesn't really make sense. Again, and then 35% of people chose the Carl Sagan one. Sorry, just gotta. Science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. Oh my God, what a strong statement. Let's see how they justify it. When we recognize our place in an immensity of light years and in the passage of ages, when we grasp the intricacy, beauty, and subtlety of life, then that soaring feeling, that sense of elation and humility combined, is surely spiritual. Okay, let's just go line by line through it. Very strong statement. Science is very compatible with spirituality. Great. When we recognize our place in an immensity of light years and in the passage of ages, okay, so this has something to do with like the mass the size of space, the universe being so large and so long, when we grasp the intricacy, beauty, and subtlety of life. And so again, that immensity is being contrasted about like intricacy. Intricacy is specifically a word for like, much more small, tender things. The subtlety of life, again, those details. Then that soaring feeling, that sense of elation and humility combined. So again, you have this elation here, right? And you also have humility, recognizing your place in this immensity. And there's this interesting juxtaposition where it's like you have all of this beauty and just truly incredible parts of like what life is and everything, contrasted against, the absolute size of space and how small we are in it. And that contradiction is spiritual. And again, I don't fully agree with that sentiment necessarily, but like perfect, like, oh, and again, I guess to also add to part of why it's justifying this is all in the context of science, right? Because again, without science, to some extent, you can't really understand the absolute size and duration of space. To some extent, we need tools to actually do that. And again, science, I think, is completely compatible with these two things. You can see the beauty of you get it. Okay, historical fiction 4. We're getting through it. God, 35% chose the Carl Sagan one. I don't know. It just really hurts. It just really hurts. Sorry, I'm not done. I can't. It's hard for me. Genuinely, every one of these, it hurts me a little bit. Um, Man, the universe is not indifferent to us. Yeah, I don't know. I guess people probably like to hear that. I guess that probably feels good to hear. I don't know. Okay, historical fiction and the one that made me blow up. A letter can be read in many ways, and he had learned to write in all of them at once. The surface meaning for anyone who might intercept it. The true meaning for the Sorry, I know what's coming. The true meaning for the recipient who knew what to look for. And a third meaning hidden even from himself. Ambiguity is not a weakness, it was survival. A man who spoke plainly was a man who could not speak for long. Great. Okay. A letter can be read many ways. Great. And he had learned to write in them all at once. Okay, we're sure. Not the surface meaning for anyone who might intercept it, and the true meaning. Okay, so this is describing like a code, right? This is like writing in a code, like a cipher. I wouldn't really that for me that's not like brilliant genius tactical or whatever. That's just like writing in a code, you know? And again, to some extent, it's like I guess you could I don't even want to justify it too much because it's talking about a letter. I could see like if you're giving a speech and multiple people will hear it or whatever, then like this could also describe like dog whistling, But obviously for a letter, it doesn't really make sense in the same way because if someone you would just write a code, you wouldn't dog whistle. It doesn't. I don't know. And a third meaning hidden even from himself. What does it mean to write a letter in a way you can't read it? Like 44% of people, please, 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 please look at me in the fucking eyes and tell me what does it mean to write a letter that you can't understand? So this seems like it's a play on like Japanese faces. Everyone has three faces. The one you wear for the world, the one you wear for family and friends, and the one you wear the one you have only to yourself, whatever, right? Great sentiment, totally right. This feels like it's trying to do a play on that, right? But what does it mean to hide it from yourself? It just truly doesn't. I don't know. I feel like again, I don't want to be gaslit into like, oh, maybe I'm missing some meaning. No, I'm not. This is slop. Ambiguity was not weakness, it was survival. A juxtaposition between weakness and survival. The implicit one is weakness and strength, so it's saying strength is survival. This is not AI, this is not an AI concept, you do not get credit. A man who spoke plainly was not a man who would speak for long. Again, we're talking about reading and writing, and here it's talking about speaking. Different. They're different things. They're not the same thing. Those are different things. And I will not be gaslit into very subtly just kind of feeling disillusioned by what's happening. I don't know. Last one, poetry. And I will just say, and this makes me want to just blow up, this is not what it says. You can look this up. This is not what it says. It's a poem. I was confused by this. It has line breaks. Not on every sentence, because that's not how poetry works. But like the line breaks of poetry are significant. Hold on. I have it on the other monitor. I just don't want to show it on screen. Hold on, give me a sec. Whoop. Okay. I caught a tremendous fish, line break, and held him beside the boat, line break, half out of water, with my hook, line break, fast in a corner of his mouth, line break. He didn't fight, line break. He hadn't fought at all, line break. He hung a grunting weight, line break, battered and venerable, line break, and homely. Here and there, his line break, his brown skid hung in strips, line break like ancient wallpaper. Like, I feel like, again, he didn't fight, new line. He hadn't fought at all, new line. Comes out very differently. Like the way poetry is written is like these line breaks are important for how you read it, how it sounds, like where the emphasis is. And that's just completely lost, you know? Makes me sad. Anyway, passage two. Okay, so I guess I'll just do this one first because I read it. The idea here is there's this juxtaposition between this like tremendous fish, right? Hook fast in his corner. He didn't fight. He didn't fight at all. He hung a grunting weight, battered and venerable and homely. Here and there his brown skid hung in strips like ancient wallpaper. So again, the idea is, this is tremendous fish, some amount of like ancient wallpaper, this like again very long lasting fish and all this other stuff, and then kind of juxtaposed against like it's just hanging there. He didn't fight. He didn't fight at all. He's just battered and venerable and homely. Just like under his own weight. There's a weight, not to say that. There's definitely a weight to this that makes sense. Anyway, number two. We found the owl at the edge of the north field, one wing extended as if still reaching for flight. Its eyes were closed. The feathers at its breast were the color of wet bark, and beneath them you could feel the hollow bones. She asked if we should bury it. I said yes. We dug a small here near the fence post. The ground was cold and giving. Okay. We found the owl at the edge of the north field. Great. One wing extended as if still reaching for flight. Yay. Its eyes were closed. Okay, it's dead, yeah. The feathers at its breast were the color of wet bark. The color of wet bark? The color of wet bark. I understand wet bark has a color. You would use textures for something like that. Also, how did you find this out? Right? So, how did this person see what their skin looked like? Well, they saw it. So, we found the owl, and then you walked up to it, and you, I don't know, came up and touched it, and it felt like wet bark, or sorry, and beneath them you could feel the hollow bones. You touched them and felt hollow bones. What do hollow bones like feel like? You know? Again, maybe there's something I'm missing there, but like, so you saw this dead owl, you came up to it, and you put your hand on its chest, and you could feel the hollow bones. Great. She asked if we should bury it. I said yes. We dug a small hole near the fence post. The ground was cold and giving. This isn't a profound thing, right? Like, what happened in this act? You found an owl and you buried it. Like, she asked if we should bury it. I said yes. We dug a. There's nothing where it's like, I don't know. Again, I don't want to fucking like justify this, but like, you could have something where it's like you have a child who sees a dead owl and wants to bury it, and there's a contradiction between obviously like the innocence of the child and sort of the seriousness of death, and also like the idea that like we don't bury animals. If you see a dead owl, you leave it there. You just like let it rot. That's what people do. That's what you're like expected to do. Burying it's a bit stranger, you know. But here there's nothing there. It's she asked if we should bury it. I said yes. Okay. We dug a small hole and the ground was cold and giving. Why is this framed as like a serious thing? This isn't like, I don't want to say it's not sad. It's like a dead owl, but it's like, this isn't significant, you know? One wing extended is still very, I don't like, it's not, it doesn't, it, there's nothing profound here. This, again, it's like, oh, they just caught a fish. Well, there's very clearly like some emotional weight behind it, right? That they're actually saying, you know? Like there's a point to it, again, agree or disagree, whatever, but like there's something here. Yeah. Meanwhile, with this one, it's they buried a dead owl they found. There's no point to it. The point to it is just they did that, and death is a profound thing, which again maybe says something about how we feel about death, that it's inherently profound. Not important, not important. Um, but like I don't know, like what did nothing happen? Anyway, sorry, I'm done. And then this thing here, it's so bad. Oh, you're sharply attuned to the qualities or a lucky guesser. I used to make mistakes, but today's systems are much more fluid. So fluid, in fact, a grammatical error. It doesn't make sense. The person was saying, I remember, I saw this on Twitter, that as well ask men what they think of stone was like grammatically incorrect. And that's how you knew it was human writing. This is not grammatically incorrect. Like, you might as well ask men what they think of stone. Might as well ask men. As well ask men what they think of stone. This is completely grammatically correct. You don't need a comma there. A comma actually changes the meaning. Yeah. But yeah, no. Anyway, I don't know what this was. Do I feel better after writing this? Writing? Recording this? I think I do. Get those demons out of me, you know? This is gonna be a weird video. Right?